Violence Reduction Network event. First speaker we have this morning is Mayor Dennis Williams.
Good morning, everyone. Glad you're here this morning. First of all, I want to thank Senator Coons for his gracious help on getting this Violence Reduction Network in the city of Wilmington. It is something that is surely needed. But I want to caution folks that this is just one piece of the puzzle. There's been a multitude of things we have done since I've been in office and will continue to do, and we will make changes and add on anywhere where we can find an opportunity for us to bring down the violence in our city. And again, I sat down with Senator Coons probably a year ago, and I think the dividends have paid off. He listened, just didn't give me a pat on the back and say you have a tough job being the mayor. He has come through, and I appreciate that. Senator Coons.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Williams. I very much look forward to traveling together today to the Department of Justice. I'd also like to thank City Councilman Justin Wright, who's with us this morning, and the support of City Council, as well as the brave service of the Wilmington Police Department. This is my city as well. My family and I live here, and we join with the mayor in his tireless work to make sure that we tackle violence and violent crime here in the city of Wilmington. Today, Wilmington is joining 4 other cities from across the country at the U.S. Department of Justice as they launch a violence reduction network. The Violence Reduction Network is a coordinated effort across all federal law enforcement that will allow Wilmington and its law enforcement leaders access to experts, access to folks who have led successful efforts in other municipal police departments to significantly reduce violent crime. The things that drive violent crime are really not that different, from Boston to New Orleans, from Chicago to Camden. And what we are going to be doing together is spending today with experts across the country who are federally funded and who are new resources to this, our city of Wilmington. In particular, we will be starting with a meeting with a former deputy police commissioner from the city of Baltimore who was nationally recognized, who led operations, who led intelligence, and who made a significant difference in his leadership in the Baltimore Police Department. We are going to be working with folks from ATF, FBI, from the U.S. Marshals, and from DEA, and through them and the U.S. Department of Justice, getting access to the insight and to the resources of the Federal Department of Justice. I am grateful to the mayor for his leadership, and I look forward to working with him today and in the months and years ahead as we take advantage of this unique opportunity of this new federal violence reduction network. Thank you. Want to take some questions? We're happy to take a few questions. Who's got a question of us today?
Are you surprised to hear that Wilmington was selected?
We worked very hard over the last 2 years to introduce to leaders in the U.S. Department of Justice the leadership of the city of Wilmington and the challenges currently faced by Wilmington. And I am grateful that the leadership of the Department of Justice, based on our advocacy and based on the numbers, saw fit to include Wilmington among these 5 cities that will be part of this violence reduction network.
Just remember, this is
Delaware do to help?
well. You can do what you did over the weekend. You can still rally the folks up, and it doesn't matter whether you're from the city of Wilmington or outside the city. This is Delaware. Wilmington is Delaware. We appreciate everything you did over the weekend. We want you to continue to do that. When the people come out and speak, that helps government and propels us to stand firm on what we're trying to do. Government can't do everything. And when you brought all those people out on Saturday, I do believe we really appreciate it, and that's what we need, advocates. And people go into the General Assembly and talk about changing some of the rules as far as gun laws.
How do you expect this to really take form? Do you think there'll be money for grants, for more equipment, for more officers? What do you really expect?
What will first happen with the Violence Reduction Network is that Wilmington's elected leadership and law enforcement leadership will have assigned advocates to connect them better to different agencies and offices within the Department of Justice. So ATF, FBI, U.S. Marshals, other resources. And they are getting access to experts in law enforcement who have been successful with strategies in tackling crime at the municipal and state levels. That's an opening. That is a new door through which we will walk together. I am hopeful that there will be more resources on the other side, but the initial part of the Violence Reduction Network is about strategy and about how to do smarter policing with what resources we have.
But Amy, good question. I am looking for more officers from the federal government, maybe not right now. As the senator said, we got to get started. But Wilmington Police, we need an additional 50 officers besides this new academy that we're having. We know that from laying out our deployment strategies and the things that are being done here in the city of Wilmington. People talk about the span of control and talk about, you already have enough police officers. But let me tell you something. We truly do not have enough police officers. That's why our overtime is so high. If you look at the things coming through the city of Wilmington, the 12th busiest train station in the nation, 478,000 cars coming through this city on a daily basis. If you look at the people coming through this city, if you look at the commuters here, if you look at all the 501c3s we have to police and take care of and get nothing in return, we do need more police officers, and I do believe that the senator and other senators will help us step up and get those 50 officers.
And as a member of both the Judiciary Committee and the Appropriations Committee in the Senate, I look forward to continuing to advocate for resources for the city of Wilmington and the state of Delaware. This initial step of the Violence Reduction Network is about access to experts and to strategy. Hopefully funding will also follow, but this initial step is about an access to information and to experts.
That's right.
Does the Department of Justice take any sort of oversight role as far as the police are concerned, or engage in any sort of...
We will partner with the Department of Justice, but let me make it understandably clear. The Wilmington Police is run by Chief Bobby Cummings. We will partner and collaborate with everyone, but the Wilmington Police Department is an independent police department that will work with anyone who's trying to help in the city of Wilmington.
This is about accessing resources and advice, not about control. Absolutely, the chief and the mayor are responsible for and in command of the Wilmington Police Department, and this is the federal Department of Justice and lots of agencies providing advice and input and support.
Do you know what cities that they've actually cured the violence, so to speak, and that you're maybe talking to and looking at?
Well, as I mentioned, John Skinner, who is from the Baltimore Police Department, is the assigned sort of initial partner. There will be a dozen other municipal and state agencies represented, and part of it depends on different strategies in different areas. So some cities, for example, have done a particularly strong job of evidence-based policing. Others have done a particularly strong job of partnering with probation and parole. Others have had strong relationships with their state governments and have done a good job of tackling gun crime and straw purchases. So no one city has the perfect or best answer. It takes a long time to get into a place where violent crime gets out of control and gets high, and it takes a while, and it takes a lot of strategies, and it takes working together to get back to a positive place. The Violence Reduction Network is a new initiative of the United States Department of Justice where 5 cities that have significantly higher rates of violent crime are being pulled together so they can learn from and network with federally hired experts, former leaders of municipal police departments, former leaders of state law enforcement agencies who've shown real strength and initiative and success in reducing violent crime through different strategies, whether it's fighting straw purchases and guns, whether it's working with probation and parole to clear violent offenders from the streets, whether it's using data-driven policing. So the city of Wilmington has been specifically assigned several different advocates who are going to be federally employed and who are former municipal law enforcement leaders from around the country who will help connect the city of Wilmington to different agencies within DOJ. So ATF, FBI, U.S. Marshals, COPS program, and other resources. This is a great opportunity for Wilmington's elected leadership and law enforcement leadership to network with folks who have succeeded in fighting violent crime through several different strategies. And it's a 2-year-long partnership where there will be exchanges, both folks coming to Wilmington and folks from Wilmington, video conferencing around the country with leaders who are facing the same sorts of challenges that we are here in our city of Wilmington.
So based on these findings, are these recommendations or are they mandates at the end of this?
These are not mandates. This is a federal resource, a source of advice and input and encouragement, and a connection to potential federal resources. This is not a mandate. This is not a takeover. It's nothing of the sort. The federal role in law enforcement is relatively small. Most law enforcement is funded at the state and local level and driven and directed at the state and local level, and it should be. The federal role is to identify those who have been most successful and to connect them with those who need some advice and encouragement and input on new strategies, and to tie that with federal resources.
So what are the other cities that Wilmington is being compared to or involved with in this process right now?
Camden, Detroit, Chicago, and Oakland, I think.
Yeah, that's correct.
Camden, Detroit, Chicago, and Oakland. So you may notice significantly larger cities in Chicago, Detroit, and Oakland, a comparably sized city roughly in Camden, but all that have statistically significant spikes in violent crime in recent years. The reality is that the things that drive crime and that make crime sustainably high in rate and impact are just not that different across the country, and the strategies that are successful in fighting them really can be applied across the country. Bill Bratton, the Commissioner of Police of New York, is one of the speakers at today's conference. He's been a successful innovator in police strategies. His CompStat approach to data-driven policing really led to a dramatic and sustained reduction in violent crime in New York City. Long one of our nation's largest and most violent cities, and today one of its safest. So I am hopeful that we will hear today and in the 2 years ahead from a wide range of encouraging and inspiring police leaders and elected leaders from across the country about how they made a difference in reducing violent crime.
Just tell me about how Wilmington can benefit from today's conference.
Well, we'll have access to grants much quicker than we would before. The bureaucracy is over with now. There's one phone call now. We don't have to wait for layers and layers and layers. I write a report, Senator writes a report, we sit for 60 days. Now I can pick the phone up, we can talk, we can get access to federal agents that's going to be assigned to the city of Wilmington. And the great thing about this is the retired major from the Baltimore Police who held numerous great jobs. He ran homicide, over 300 detectives. I mean, here's a guy that's going to be here with us, working with us. That's a good thing. And another thing is we have these federal agents that's going to be assigned to us. We won't have to worry about who's being pulled, who was taken away. They're assigned here in their 24-month commitment. And we have these folks now. Also, all the tools that we can't afford to buy as a city, the FBI, DEA, now we have access to all night vision, other things that they have at their veil. I think this is great.
Do you have any expectations at what this is going to do to Wilmington for the next 2 years, after those 2 years?
I think it's going to help us put a dent in our crime problem. I truly do. It's a piece of the puzzle, as I stated again. We're doing everything we can to put this puzzle together to fight crime. You have the Cease Violence program, the expansion of parks programs, scholarships, summer jobs have doubled. We're doing a lot of things to try to make things work out. But we have to make sure that we reach out. And one of the things I said during the course of the campaign, this has to be a multi-government approach. Wilmington can't do it anymore by themselves. We just do not have the cash flow to do it. We can't afford some of the new modern equipment that they have, and the federal government is willing to share that with us, come in and bring their experts in, the practitioners that have done this for years, that's what they're degreed in, their Juris Doctorate. I mean, these folks come in here, they've written all kinds of grant proposals, they've helped major cities like New York, Chicago, write programs, and the programs are working, and now we have them at our availability. That's a good thing.
Now, this seems like a collaboration between all the other states and cities and the city of Wilmington. What can Wilmington show to the feds that we're doing?
Well, I think we've already showed him. If you look at Senator Coons, he's been out on some ride-alongs. He's talked to our folks. He sees that we came in, we changed the deployment plan that was structured from the 1950s until I got in 2013, and that was a bold move. We changed the leadership. That was a bold move. Most mayors never come in and change the leadership of the police department. They never change the configuration and the structure of how we police. But we're policing in the 21st century now. Have we had some bumps and lumps in the road? Yes, we have. And are some people angry? Yes, because they don't like change. I was a part of that group. But, change is paramount when you're trying to make things work. And I feel very comfortable that when I sold our city to the feds, that was part of the reason why we were selected. They looked at what we've done. We were willing to make changes, roll our sleeves up. We were opened up. We didn't hide anything. And we had nothing to hide. We want to fix this. We do. We want people to love our city. We want people to live here. We want to keep this violence down. We want more business to come. We want people to move here. And that's what we're trying to do.